What if I told you that long before the flashing cameras, long before the screaming sirens, and long before that black Mercedes disappeared into the darkness of a Paris tunnel, Princess Diana may have already written the ending of her own story? Not just a fear, not just a passing thought, but a detailed warning, written in her own handwriting, sealed inside an envelope, and handed to someone she trusted with her life. Because this story doesn't begin in Paris, 1997. It begins years earlier, inside the quiet walls of Kensington Palace, where the most photographed woman in the world often felt the most alone. If you watched my previous video about Princess Diana's last 7 hours, you already know that the night in Paris felt chaotic, rushed, and strangely unprotected. But what if that night wasn't just tragic? What if, in Diana's mind, it was inevitable? Let's rewind. October 1993. The world still saw her as the people's princess, elegant, smiling, untouchable. But behind palace walls, Diana was living through one of the most emotionally isolating periods of her life. Her marriage to Prince Charles had collapsed, trust inside the royal circle was gone, and according to people closest to her, Diana felt watched, controlled, and increasingly unsafe. Inside Kensington Palace on a quiet afternoon, she called for one of the few people she still trusted completely, her longtime butler and confidant, Paul Burrell. When he entered the room, Diana wasn't smiling. There were no cameras, no royal performance, just a woman who looked deeply unsettled. In her hand was a sealed envelope. She gave it to him carefully and said something that, years later, would send chills through millions of people who heard it. "Please keep this," she told him. "This is my insurance for the future." Burrell later recalled that her tone wasn't dramatic or theatrical. It was calm, serious, almost resigned. He didn't open the envelope. He simply kept it safe, locked away, exactly as she asked. And for years, no one outside that room knew what was written inside. Then came August 31st, 1997, Paris, midnight. A speeding black Mercedes, blinding flashes from paparazzi, a sudden loss of control inside the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, metal, concrete, silence. The world woke up to shocking headlines. Princess Diana was gone. At first, it felt like a tragic accident. Reckless driving, paparazzi pursuit, a driver under the influence. That's what the early reports suggested. But as the world mourned, something else quietly resurfaced, something written years earlier in Diana's own hand. After her death, Paul Burrell finally revealed the existence of the letter Diana had given him back in 1993, and when he opened it, and later shared its contents with investigators and the public, the words inside stunned everyone who heard them. Because this wasn't a vague diary entry, it wasn't emotional poetry, it was specific, disturbingly specific. Diana wrote that the phase she was entering would be the most dangerous time in her life. She said she feared an accident involving her car. She mentioned brake failure. She even predicted the possibility of a serious head injury. Let that sink in. Years before the crash in Paris, she described a scenario involving a car accident, mechanical failure, and a fatal head injury. Whether you believe it was fear, intuition, or something else entirely, the similarities were impossible to ignore. When the details of the Paris crash became public, one medical fact stood out. Princess Diana's primary fatal injury was a severe head injury, exactly what she had written years earlier. For many people, that coincidence felt chilling. For others, it raised uncomfortable questions. Why did she feel this way? Why was she so certain that her life was in danger? And why did she feel the need to document it in writing? In the same letter, Diana expressed deep anxiety about her personal safety and her future. She felt isolated, she felt vulnerable, and she believed powerful forces around her were shaping her destiny in ways she could not control. It's important to remember, Diana lived inside one of the most scrutinized institutions in the world. Every move was monitored, every relationship analyzed, every decision carried enormous public consequences. The early 1990s were especially turbulent. Her marriage had publicly collapsed. Tabloids dissected her life daily. Trust within royal circles had eroded, and according to many close to her, Diana often felt emotionally and physically exposed. Some historians and investigators later suggested the letter reflected her state of mind during an extremely stressful period. A woman under global pressure, a woman struggling with isolation and fear, a woman trying to make sense of a life that no longer felt safe. Others, however, viewed the letter differently. To them, it felt less like anxiety and more like a warning. After the crash, British and French investigations spent years examining every possible angle, from driver responsibility and paparazzi pursuit to mechanical conditions of the car. Multiple official inquiries ultimately concluded that Diana's death was the result of a tragic accident involving reckless driving and high-speed pursuit. Yet despite official findings, the existence of Diana's letter ensured public curiosity never fully disappeared. Because there's something deeply unsettling about a person writing down the exact kind of event that later takes their life. Even if it's coincidence, even if it's fear speaking, even if it's simply the result of living under imaginable pressure. The letter became part of the historical record, a haunting piece of context surrounding one of the most talked about tragedies of the modern era. And here's what makes this story even more powerful. Diana wasn't just a royal figure. She was a global icon who connected emotionally with millions of people. When someone like her expresses fear, the world listens. When her written words seem to echo future events, the world remembers. Today, decades later, that single envelope from 1993 continues to spark conversation, not necessarily as proof of anything sinister, but as a window into Diana's emotional reality during the final years of her life. A woman adored by the public, yet often deeply alone behind palace walls. A woman surrounded by luxury and attention, yet quietly writing letters about fear and uncertainty. If you watched the video about her last 7 hours, you saw the chaos of that last night, the rushed decisions, the relentless cameras, the sense that something was spiraling out of control. But this letter reminds us, in Diana's mind, the danger may not have started in Paris. It may have started years earlier, with a growing feeling that her life was moving toward an ending she couldn't stop. So now the question isn't just what happened inside that Paris tunnel. The deeper question is this: was Diana simply a woman overwhelmed by pressure and fear, expressing her anxieties on paper? Or was she someone who truly believed her life was being shaped by forces beyond her control? History may never give a definitive answer, but the existence of that letter ensures one thing. The story of Princess Diana isn't just about the night she died. It's about the years leading up to it, the emotions, the fears, the private words she left behind. And sometimes, those private words can be more haunting than any headline. So what do you think? Was it coincidence, intuition, or something more complicated? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want to continue exploring the untold details surrounding Princess Diana's final years and the mysteries still debated today, stay with this channel.